Assalamualaikum and good morning to Miss Ashikin. My name is Iman Akila binti Muhammad Hazrin. I am from PISMP TSLC 2022 till 2027, and today I'm going to present about social mobility on education in Malaysia. Here are the list of contents that I will talk about later on. So the first one is introduction, then effects of social mobility on education in Malaysia. The third one is the importance of social mobility, what more can be done to increase social mobility through education, and the last one, conclusion. Before we move to talk about the content of this presentation, I'm going to talk about the introduction, which a statement from the task given. In Malaysia, a report shows that only 30% of students from the lowest income group B40 attend university, compared to 17% of students from higher income families M40. The government has introduced programs like PTPTN loans and scholarships to help these students, but many still face challenges in completing their education. In this task, there are also questions like, do you think these programs are enough to help students from lower income family rise socially? What more can be done to increase social mobility through education? So with these questions, I will answer in this presentation also, but at the next slide. Again, before we start to answer the questions, we have to know what is the topic. So the topic is social mobility. Now, what is social mobility? According to Everson, social mobility is generally understood as the movement of individuals or groups from a lower to a higher level of education, occupational status, or income group, and is often seen as a key component of economic development and a just society. These are few types of social mobility, which vertical mobility, horizontal mobility, intergenerational mobility, and the last one is generational mobility. After we have know what are the definitions of the social mobility, now we are moving to the highlights of this presentation, which are the effects of social mobility on education. There are four main points of the effects, and the first one is urban-rural education disparities. Second one, pressure and mental health on students. Third one, TVET versus university pathways. And the last one is privatization and class-based inequality. Urban-rural disparities. Social mobility increase educational inequality between urban and rural areas. As more resources and attention are channeled toward high-performing urban schools, rural institutions often remain underfunded and under-resourced. And urban middle class students are more likely to attend elite institutions such as Sekolah Berasrama Penuh, as we often call it as SBP, while rural schools continue to face teacher shortage and outdated infrastructure. In addition, access to private tuition and enrichment programs is heavily concentrated in urban areas, putting rural students, especially those from B40, which bottom 40% income households, at disadvantage. And all of this has been proven by Shazrina Ali, 2023. The Sarawak Education Department reported a widening achievement gap in the Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia (SPM) examinations between urban and rural schools, with the national average grade (GPN) gap increasing from 0.56 in 2021 to 0.62 in 2022. And also, based on the research, it is suggested that students in rural areas face multiple layers of disadvantages, not just academic but also socio-economic and environmental. Many rural schools lack adequate infrastructure, digital access, and qualified teachers. In contrast, urban schools benefit from better funding, extracurricular offerings, and often more engaged parents due to higher levels of socioeconomic stability. Furthermore, the pressure to improve national performance statistics may cause authorities to prioritize urban schools that are more likely to produce top scorers, inadvertently sidelining those in need of greater support. This has unintentionally created a self-reinforcing cycle where rural students remain at a disadvantage and have fewer opportunities for social advancement, contrary to the very purpose of education as a social equalizer. To truly promote equitable social mobility, policies must go beyond surface level equality and aim for equity, providing more support where the need is greatest. This includes targeted investment in rural education, teacher incentives, digital access, and culturally relevant curricula. Without these efforts, the achievement gap itself will continue to grow and education will remain a source of inequality rather than a bridge to the opportunity. Next, pressure and mental health on students. High-stakes tests like the University Placement Assessment (UPU) and the Pelajar Malaysia (SPM) are crucial for all students. This is to determine students' access to higher education and future employment opportunities. And this also indirectly has put a major pressure on students, and it is often leading to serious mental health challenges. According to KPMG 2023, Malaysian families spend more than 2.1 billion ringgit Malaysia a year on additional education services, which clearly shows the importance of academic success in society as a means of achieving upward social mobility. Adolescents between the ages of 13 and 14 reported higher probabilities of attempting suicide than other age groups. Then this can be proven with the 2023 research published in BMC Public Health. This finding underscores how prone younger pupils are to the pressures of academic expectations. The intense competition surrounding high-stakes examination, like I mentioned before, SPM and UPU, really reinforce a narrow definition of success, often equating academic achievement with self-worth. This pressure creates an environment where students feel compelled to outperform their peers, leading to a chronic stress and, in severe cases, deteriorating mental health. The fact that families are willing to invest billions in tuition reflects how deeply rooted this academic pressure is in Malaysian society, where success in education is viewed as the main path to upward social mobility. The education system risks becoming a source of inequality rather than a ladder for social advancement. And I believe there must be a greater emphasis on mental health support in schools, reduced over reliance on exam results, and the introduction to diverse pathways to success, such as the skills based learning. Only by creating a more inclusive and balanced approach can education truly serve as a tool for both personal development and equitable social mobility. Next is TVET versus university pathways. In Malaysia, is often perceived as a secondary option compared to university degrees. Particularly, it is among middle and upper class families, which is M40 and the T20. All the perceptions are technically due to the societal stigma. TVET is not seen as a proper and acceptable educational track, but rather as a backup plan for kids who are less talented in school. In spite of these beliefs, TVET programs have shown to have a good job results since 2012. TVET graduates' employment rate is higher than those of non-TVET graduates, rising from 65.5% in 2010 to 94.0% in 2023. However, even in fields with little employment opportunities, families frequently emphasize a university degree due to goals for upward social mobility. And the result of the desires, graduates may experience difficulties like underemployment, or they might work in the fields that it is different from what they studied before. Then, Tibet's expansion is hampered by an underestimation, which also restricts chances for low-income students who may gain from hands-on, skill-based training that meets the demands of the industry itself. To overcome these obstacles, initiatives to improve Tibet's reputation and highlight its opportunities for professional progressions are very crucial. Then, privatization and class-based inequalities. In Malaysia, the increasing trend of wealthier families enrolling their children in private and international schools has led to a widening educational gap. These schools are largely accessible to only wealthy families due to their largely yearly fees, which range around from 50,000 to 100,000, while frequently providing excellent facilities and academic results. In order for the students to pursue higher education, middle class students who cannot afford such an education usually apply for loans from the National Higher Education Fund Corporation (PTPTN). However, by the time they graduate, this dependence frequently leads to significant debt accumulation, which might eventually threaten their financial stability at that time. All of this it is can be proven as the graphics that I have provided here, which as of 2013, over 14.7% of Malaysian primary school children were enrolled in private institutions, which it is according to World Bank data on trading economics. This percentage shows how much concentration of resources and high quality instruction in elite private schools leads to a widening gap in educational results due to the class-based inequalities. Now we are moving to the why social mobility is important. First and foremost, to reduce poverty and inequalities. Social mobility is essential in helping people escape poverty. And many families from the B40 group, which the bottom 40% struggle to improve their lives. This is happening because they face limited access to quality education, as I mentioned earlier, good jobs and career advancement opportunities. Social mobility really provides these individuals a chance to move into higher income groups. For example, from B40 to M40 or even T20 by improving their education, gaining better skills, accessing higher paying jobs. This is especially important because there are still big economic gaps in Malaysia. According to World Bank Group 2024, rural East Malaysians experience significantly lower upward mobility compared to those in Peninsular Malaysia, highlighting persistent regional and structural inequalities. This issue can be related to the previous point that I have mentioned in the part where there are rural-urban disparities. There is also pressure in regions like Sabah and Sarawak, where I emphasize it again here, residents are more likely to remain in low-income categories due to the weaker social mobility. Next point is to strengthen national unity. Malaysia is a multiracial and multicultural country where maintaining social cohesion is essential for national stability. However, if opportunities for social mobility are only available to certain groups, like such as race, region, or income level, it can lead to feelings of unfairness among marginalized communities. Ensuring that everyone has an equal chance to succeed, regardless of their background, helps promote a sense of belonging and shared progress. According to Song 2024, social trust positively impacts perceived upward mobility with institutional quality and social interactions playing key roles in shaping how people experience and pursue mobility. This further highlights the importance of equitable policies in fostering unity and national stability. And the last content of this presentation, what more can be done to increase social mobility through education. So firstly, expand financial aid and support. As example, I suggest to the government to increase scholarships, grants, and living allowance for only B40 students. Besides, they also can to provide mentorship and career guidance to help students stay on a track. Next, the second one is early childhood education. I believe that the government may invest in affordable, quality preschool education for all, especially in low income areas. Besides, early support can close learning gaps before formal schooling begins. And the last one, I think we can also done to community and parental engagement where where the government or the parent itself conduct awareness programs for parents to support children's education at home. And this can strengthen school community partnerships to actually boost local involvement. Finally, we are at the end of this presentation, which the conclusion. And I believe social mobility plays a crucial role in shaping education in Malaysia. Yet, challenges like urban rural gaps, exam pressures, and unequal access to opportunity remains. According to Braun van Brenner's ecological systems theory, a student's environment, which family, school, and society deeply affects their learning journey. Based on the theory, it explains how a person's development is shaped by interactions within and between various environmental systems, ranging from their immediate surroundings to broad societal influences. I also believe like support like PTPTN helps, but more is needed. Promoting TVET and affordable quality education encourage hands-on learning in line with the constructivist theory where students build knowledge through experience. And lastly, by reducing these barriers, we can create a fairer, more inclusive system where every student, no matter their background, has a real chance to succeed. And a very, very last, education can unite us and shape a better Malaysia. That's all from me. Thank you for watching and listening.